There have been a lot of big changes and a lot of big feelings lately surrounding Iron Mace's approach to balancing the core gameplay of Dark and Darker. And while many people are upset that it seems like Iron Mace is simply backtracking on what they were trying out in regards to the stat squish on items, I want to refer back to the pendulum metaphor I used last week. We know Iron Mace loves making big changes, and they like to do them frequently, so we should expect a lot of changes to how the core game works in the future. And if I'm being totally honest, there were a lot of awesome changes in the most recent patch that are getting overshadowed by the general whine of the community right now. Goblin Caves is more interesting than ever. Sub bosses constantly dropping interesting items is fantastic. And the crypt modules being more varied, the map being bigger, and having a few less people makes the game a lot more of a dungeon crawler with a little bit of PvP action thrown in instead of just a Zerg fest. So obviously gear is the hot button issue right now, and plenty of people are upset at how strong teams are going into the dungeon because it's never fun to get rolled by people you feel like you would beat except for the substantial gear difference. And I'll also admit that I was having a lot of fun in that 24-hour window we had before the additional magic damage, weapon damage, and plus all attributes was added back in. I think the game still is in a great spot though. I also think that the merchant changes are making it so that going naked is significantly harder. And honestly, I think that's a big part of Iron Mace's motivation here. They want you to have to spend some of your gold to succeed in the dungeon. They want that risk versus reward. I mean, look at High Roller. They literally slap an entrance fee on it because they want a way to pull gold out of the game. And making this merchant change, I think, is a fantastic way to do that because there does feel like you're getting a reward instantly for investing that gold in. You have something to actually spend your gold on easily without wasting time in the trade. You just go to your merchants, grab some upgrades, and dive right back in. You get an extraction, and hey, you just spend a few of that gold instantly, and you feel like you're getting something really nice out of it. And it's super fun. It feels super rewarding. You feel really powerful, and you get to be really powerful. And you get that reward when you're fighting other players to know that, yes, you had the gear, you invested your gold, you made some good choices, and you have a good build, and you are being rewarded for that. And that feels great. But it does suck for those of us that have those rat-like tendencies, that have that hoarding tendency, that just want to put on that gray or white weapon, grab a few gray pieces of armor, maybe a heal or two, and kind of go for that zero to hero run. It is way harder to do that because everybody has access to better gear. But that also means when you actually take people down, they actually have stuff worth taking. You're not just seeing a whole bunch of naked people anymore. And yeah, you're not going to maybe win as many fights once you start kind of, going on that little bit of a bankroll where you start getting progressively stronger and stronger. You're not just going to go all night necessarily because you are going to fight way more geared teams. You're going to see way more people that are just as geared as you. And that's okay. And that's more interesting. So I think a lot of these changes are leaning towards that. Iron Mace wants you to have to invest to compete. They don't necessarily want you to completely rat it out. But don't worry, if you are a rat, there's still plenty you can do to get money, get gold, so you can get the gear and you can compete. So, Goblin Caves, 7 enter, 7 leave. More variety of modules, more mob density, which means you're not going to be rushed down as frequently. Usually half the lobby dies instantly to goblins anyways, so there's plenty of exits available. Just hide in a corner, wait it out, and you can extract with 1 to 200 gold, even a few nice items. It's not that hard. Just go in with the base kit. Any class can do it and find success. It takes a little bit of time to learn, but you can absolutely do this, and this is a great way to learn the game, learn your class, level up, and make some money while doing it. So Goblin Caves is fantastic, but that's not the only option, because if you are playing with a group of friends and you don't want to solo, you want to play with your friends, a great way to do that is to go to hell. Honestly, ratting it out as a team, playing really safely, playing near the edge, finding those 3-man portals and just taking them instantly to go down to hell can be a great way to make a ton of money and get great loot quality as well. There are so many sub bosses in hell, and if you learn how to fight them, you can learn how to abuse their AI, use the hydras, jump up on chests, ledges, find where you need to stand. You can easily kill them with minimal risk, and you can come out of the dungeon with some fantastic gear and tons of sellables so that you can fund the next 2 or 3 raids and have a fighting chance. So that's another fantastic option. And honestly, all you need is just that little bit of coin, and you can even make gold without ever stepping foot in the dungeon again, because the merchant change is fantastic. Every once in a while, you will find some fantastic, wild, overpowered, overstated items on the merchants. You can buy that for 40 gold, buy that for 50 gold, and turn around and sell it for 100, 200, 300 gold instantly on the trade, and just make a cool pile of coins for not doing any risk at all. So lots of ways to get gear, and yes, gear can still feel bad, but there are so many easy ways to compete. There's lots of loot available from the merchants, and at the end of the day, SDF is already planning on making more adjustments to gear again, and we know Iron Mace has the ability to remove stats on gear that already exists in people's stashes. They did that with the move speed bonus of torches and lanterns, so they can just delete +2 all attributes from your items in the game by pressing a button. We know they have the ability to do that, and if that's something they want to do, they can do it, because I think that was a huge complaint last season for the leaderboard on High Roller, is that there was legacy gear that had stats that were no longer available, and there was teams that just could not ever reach the same gear level as people that were at the top of the leaderboard, and that feels bad. That's not going to happen again. I have faith in Iron Mace that they are not going to do something like that. They've made some changes to their backend where they can now completely delete these attributes from items, and I think they're going to be able to make this game fantastic. So, end of the day, my thesis, let them cook. They've been making good changes. Yes, I would have enjoyed to play with the more condensed stats a little bit longer, but I have faith that this is going to be awesome. Let me know in the comments below if your experience has been the same as mine, which is pretty good, or if you really want them to squish them down even more back to what it was, or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.